Now we're going to write our script for our character. And what we want to have happen if we're moving to the right, we want to use the walk animation. Same thing if we're moving to the left, we want to use the walk animation. And when we're not moving, we'll use this idle animation. And to do this, we're going to need access to two components here. We're going to need the sprite renderer when we write our script. Why? Well, there's this flip X, and if I'm running to the left, I just flip it in the X direction. If I'm running to the right, I don't flip it in the X direction. Hey, interestingly, there's this flip Y that if our character, we were creating a game where gravity all of a sudden became disabled, I could just flip Y, and or gravity became opposite, I flip Y and my character flies to the ceiling. So those are pretty handy to have access to, and I need the sprite renderer to access that. I also need the animator. Why? Well, the animator has all of my animations in it. This is my animator here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to add a component here, and it's going to be a script. We're just going to call it my character new script and create an ad. Double click that to open it in Visual Studio. And I told you we needed those two variables. We're going to put them before the start method here. So I need an animator. And I'm just going to call it anim for short. And I also need a sprite renderer. So sprite renderer, there it is. And I'm going to call this my sprite. So I have those two variables. In the start method, I need to actually get them. So I'm going to go anim equals get component. And my triangular brackets, and I'll get the animator controller. So that right there goes out and grabs, that goes and grabs my animator controller. The next one will go out and get the component, the sprite renderer component. Oops, I forgot there needs to be two parentheses. Sorry. And for my sprite equals get component, triangular brackets, and here I need the sprite renderer, sprites render. I need the two parentheses and a semicolon. So now that I have variables and I went out and got the two components, now let's, in update, let's write what we need. Well, it's going to be a long-ish method, so right in update, I just want to call a move method. Oops, I don't want all that. I just want move. Move is not a method yet, but we've learned this in the past. If I right-click, you can generate a new method. Yours is quick actions and refactorings when you right click there, and you can generate a new method in move here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is find out if I'm moving. So I'm going to have a float variable move, and we've done this before. I'm going to go to my input, and I will get input.get axis, and I want the horizontal axis. I just want to see what's happening here. So on the next line, just so we can write the rest of our code, let's debug.log, which will give us an output, and the lowercase move here. I just want to see what happens when I push the right arrow key, when I push the left arrow key. When I do nothing, I want to see what happens with this variable here. So save your script and hop back to Unity. Back now in Unity, I'm going to click on the console and I will push play. And if I'm not hitting any keys, notice that my move variable is 0. But if I hit the right arrow key, look, it goes to a positive number. Here, let me zoom in to show you. Right now it's 0. I hit the right arrow key and I get positive values. What about if I hit the left arrow key? Well, I get negative values for the left arrow key. So right goes positive, left goes negative. When I don't touch it, it goes back to 0. So I'm going to use those positive values, negative values, and 0 values. All right, hop back into Visual Studio. We'll finish up our character script here. I no longer need this debug.log line. That was just for me to see what was happening. And I'm going to say, well, if my move variable, if move is greater than 0, I'll hit return. There, I'm going to set up my if here. Next to my if move is greater than 0, I'm going to put a little note over here. If move is greater than 0, well, that means I'm moving right. And if I'm moving right, well, I want to do two things. First, you don't have to do this, but let me hop back to Unity. If I have my character here, my sprite renderer, do I want flip X on or off? Right now it's off, and he's facing right. If I turn it on, it faces left. So I want it off. I want to make sure it's off. It is off now, but I want to make sure that it's off. So that'll be my first line of code. Let me hop back to the script. And I do that. My sprite renderer is called my sprite right there. So I will type my sprite dot flip X equals false. I do not want it on. When I'm moving right, I do not want it on. And when I am moving right, I want to walk. So I'm going to go to my animator, which is anim dot play. You got to be careful what you type right here. Mine is called walk with a lowercase w. Here's how you check to see what is the name of your animation. Well, I'm going to hop back into Unity, and I can see mine is actually a uppercase W, so I'm going to go back and fix that. It's uppercase walk. So it's in your animator. There's walk and idle. Also, if I go to my project, I can go to animations and see them there. Notice I did mess up. It's a capital W. So I'll go back here and put capital walk there. So that's my first if statement, but now I need to know, well, what if it's moving left? So I put else if move is less than 0. Hit return, put my curly braces. I'll put a little note here too. Well, this is moving right, or sorry, moving left. And if I am moving left, well, my sprite dot flip X, well, this is equal to true. When I'm moving left, it's true. And actually, when I'm moving left, I still want to play my walk animation. So I'm just going to copy this line of code, paste it right there. So that's if I'm moving right. If I'm moving left, well, what's left? Well, I'm just going to type else. The only thing left, I'm either moving right, left, or not moving at all. So I'll put else, and I'll put my curly braces. Here, I'll put a little note. Not moving. Else, all I want to do, I don't want to flip X or flip right if I am not moving. I just want to play the idle animation. So anim.play, and in this case, it was idle with a capital I. I'm going to go back and check that out just to make sure. So let me hop back into Unity, and yes, it's idle for me with a capital I there. So that's what I'm putting in my script. idle with a capital I. This should actually work now, so save your script and hop back into Unity. Back in Unity, all should go well here. I'll push play, and I'll hold down the right arrow key, and he walks right. I'll hold down the left arrow key, and it walks to the left. Now notice, it doesn't loop. It stops a little way in there. It doesn't loop when I go to the left. So we're going to fix that right now. But notice that whichever direction I'm facing is the direction that the idle is facing, and I kind of like the way that's set up. Also, he's walking a little slow. I want to fix that as well. So let's do that. I'm going to go to my animations folder, click on my walk animation, and then click the animation tab. And here, if I open up Sprite, I should see all of my sprites there. Notice the samples are set to 12. So it's running at 12 frames per second. I'm going to double that. I'm going to put 24 there. So I'll put 24. I'll put 24, and he's gonna run twice as fast. And also, I want it to loop. So up here in the inspector, I'm gonna change the loop time here. I'm just gonna put a check mark there. Now I will replay this, and we'll check it out. To the right, oh, that's much better speed-wise, and it keeps going. Our character isn't moving yet, but it is animating, and that was all we wanted to do here. Now there's one more thing I want to do in this video, so let me show you. To create an animation for my character, I needed a script because I needed to know if it was running right, if it was running left, it was idle. But if I just have an object that I just want to animate in the scene and continuously animate, it's a little bit easier. So I've got a spinning coin that we're going to add to this. And let's go ahead and find that. It's under Bayit Games and coin animation. I'll open up PNG, and we'll go to the 2 times. And it has all these different coins already for me. They're already cut up. It's going to make it pretty easy for me. So I'm going to grab the first one. I'm going to hold down Shift, and so all 16 items are selected. And then all I need to do is drag it into my hierarchy. And when I do that, it says multiple, and that's because I have multiple items and they're going to be added together. So I'm going to drop it in there. And it's going to say, hey, we've got a new animation. What do you want to call it? Well, it's coin animation. And where do I want to save it? Well, I want to save it in my animations folder. So I need to come back to assets, and then I have an animations folder, and I'll click save there. Now it's just called image 3 up here. I'm going to call it coin. And if I play it, it should just animate for me. It should just work. Let's see. I'm going to move it a little bit over here, and we'll push play. Let's see what happens. There we go. There is our animated coin. And so now I have this coin object. I'm going to make it a prefab so I can use it in my other scenes. So I'm just going to drag it into my prefabs. And I have an animated coin object that I can use to pick up in my scenes there, which is great. The other animated object I want to put is our water. So let me find that. I'll go to Bayit Games and find the water animation. And under PNGs, there's 1 time, and I have 17 images there. I will select the first image, go all the way to image 17, hold down Shift so I select them all. And again, I'm going to drag it into my hierarchy, so I'll click and drag it right into my hierarchy. It's going to ask what the animation is called. This is my water animation. And again, I want to save it in my animations folder. I'll go ahead and click save now. And I will name it over here water. And if I push play, I should get an animated water effect. Look at that. Okay, I will make this a prefab now. Go and find my prefabs folder, drag the water in there. Now all you have to do is go to your 3 scenes that you created. We're gonna replace the water and add some coins. So quickly, let me show you how you would do that. Let me find a scene, and I'll save that's the scene that I'm in. And look, I have some water in here. Now I would have to go and open up my tile palette here, and I want to erase some of the water. So I get my eraser tool, make sure I'm on the grid, and erase the water there. I know the water needs to go there, so then I would go to my prefabs folder and I would drag the water out and do my best to fit it into the right spot there. This may take some nudging with the exact position over here. I'll put 3 and -6 there. And then of course I would just add another water object right next to it, and then they would animate together there. So if I were to push play now, you can see I've animated water, and then whereas this one over here is not animated. And of course I've got my coin that I can just now drag into the scene, and I would have animated coins all over my scenes. All right, good job today. That was 2 long videos about animation, so good job getting through those today.